I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's a filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Indeed, a child shall lead them.
To buy our merch, Nasum-Fury. This is the winner of the Extreme Metal playlist. This is a grindcore band from Sweden.
Grindcore, you say?
Yep.
Grindcore! Okay, here we go. Nasum. The name of the song is Fury. Let's do it. Okay, that was not what I was expecting from a genre called grindcore, especially at the end with all that melody.
Yeah, not at all.
All that melody.
Not at all. Okay. Oh boy. That's not at all what I thought I was.
Kelly Joss in the house.
Hello.
You're reacting
Okay.
very strangely to the song, so I'm very curious as to what you're about to say.
What? It's just, I was thinking about it and I'm like, this is not my type of metal. And I was thinking, like, if we had like the grading scale on like in a picture, when there would be a song like this, I would just flip it over because I feel like the lower that I score it, that gives it more points. Because I don't like it, you know what I mean? And I feel like that maybe they're going for what they accomplished.
To
what they're
achieve,
going for.
yeah. So the less you like it, the more they've achieved.
Right, the more that they probably have gotten it. Also, I do have to say, I do have a newfound appreciation for people that do lyrics straight through like this because, so I took off in the car the other day to practice the ending of our song, and I was trying a lot of different voices. And some of it sounded so bad. And I was like, wow, it doesn't really sound like it's that difficult to do. And like I had a big thing of water beside me. I was like choking. I'm like taking the water because it was just not working for me. So
yeah, me and Kel were having a conversation one time about a band, and they had a really good tremolo part or whatever. And I was saying, I want to see that drummer do that live. And Kel was saying, I want to see that guitarist maintain. And he's right, like, especially now that I'm, it's getting a little bit more complex now.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yep.
if you screw up on those progressions, it becomes so obvious. So you have to that's why I'm starting to do those drills and things like
Honestly, I don't know how you're able to hold that, like, because I've been doing the ending over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
So like just hearing you doing that ending, I'm like, how do you not mess up with that? Like right before it goes into where I'm going to go again. Like, it's just over and over and over and over, and you have to make sure that you keep the same cadence. It's just like, wow.
That's the fastest paced thing in the song too. And you have to do it for 2 rounds of 4/4.
A lot.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway. So yeah. So I don't know if I'll ever hit a point in my life where I'm like, I need this type of music. Probably. No, I want to say I hope not, because I feel like I'd have to be at a really bad spot for me to need this type of music. But maybe it's not like that for everybody.
Sonically or lyrically?
Well, lyrically, I couldn't follow it, and I spent so much time trying to follow it that I actually didn't get much into the lyrics.
Okay. Yeah, I was. Shout out to 88th Regiment. Hey, BC! I felt like I haven't talked to BC in like forever. Look at him. Hello,
really?
children. Shout out to BC, gang. Yeah. So this song, it looks like there's a quote political statement, but really you could transpose this for a lot of situations. So it says, reaching for the end, I wouldn't hold my breath. Smothered thoughts, all alike. Machine-like beings walk on by. Through smoldering remains, scorched by flames from the burning cold. Mental ice age. Reality postponed. When all is said and done, what will be left of you?
Oh, of you. I thought it said for you. Yeah.
Well, it might be for you in your
No,
translation.
it's not. It literally says of. Wow.
All signs point toward regression. None show the width of their obsession, the undeniable truth. So weak, so forgotten, and so forfeit. Without conscience and without faith, no beliefs to call your own, their origin remains unknown.
That's interesting.
Why? Why is it interesting to you?
Isn't there a verse that says something like that?
I've always, without hope and without God in the world, Ephesians 2.
Yeah. What does it say? There's like
Something
some horrible.
Us as Gentiles, said, remember you were formerly far off, cut out from the commonwealth of Israel, without hope and without God in the world. And God, while you being dead, made us alive together with Christ Jesus, tearing down the wall of hostility, yada, yada, yada.
That's probably the one I'm thinking of, but I thought there was one that like it says something about in their end is to be burned or something. There's some really like scary one too. You don't know what I'm talking about. And I don't remember much more of it. I just remember it kind of had like that sort of feel to it, I thought. And then it says it, but then anyway.
That's always an interesting concept to me.
What?
No beliefs to call your own. That's to me like presents us in like a catch-22, because like everybody that comes up with beliefs that are completely original, we say they're crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like most of I think all of us, like the foundational things that we assume that we call axiomatic aren't really axiomatic. They're just the essentials of the particular presuppositions that we hold and the belief systems that we hold. Mm-hmm. You know, I think like the primer shouldn't necessarily be on original thought as much as it should be about consistent thought.
Yeah.
And thought that carries utility in the real world.
Exactly.
So if you can find a worldview and assumptions that you can make axiomatic that can remain rationally consistent and practically consistent, I think you're in good shape. So so the accusation like, oh, you don't have an original thought isn't very significant to me.
I agree with you. I feel like I used to kind of think that, like, the whole, like, I didn't understand when people would say that, like, oh, you never have an original thought. I was like, well, I mean, I'm believing the Bible, and I'm believing what God said about this stuff. So, of course, like, it's not my original thought. Like, it dates back so far.
Right.
And, you know, there is a certain amount of, I guess you could say, safety in believing something that has been believed through generations, but not just generations, but different cultures. Because, well, something might work for this culture, like, you know, there was like this branch of Christianity, it was called the prosperity gospel, and it was like, oh, God wants to prosper you in every situation, and if you give this certain amount of money to the church, then you're going to be rich, and life is going to be good, and everything's going to be perfect for you. Well, that type of idea might actually, like, look like it's working in maybe America, but that's not going to look like it's working if you live, you know, where there's extreme poverty, and it doesn't matter how much money you send to the church. Every penny you send to the church is making you that much many pennies poorer.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, like if the idea not only works for different groups and different cultures, can these, you know?
Holy smokes!
What?
I had the wrong mic turned up the entire time. I'm sure we sound better now, don't we, dear listener?
Well, hello there.
Okay.
So I agree with that, and I like the way that you put that.
Yeah. And when it says without faith, it doesn't necessarily mean faith in God. Like, I feel like
yeah.
Everybody, when they go out there, you know, I've always said it's impossible to function in the world without faith unless you're an omniscient being.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
I do think, like, when you think about things like social contracts and things like that, like, I definitely think there is a certain degree of faith that we all just put in each other on a generally a regular basis. Mm-hmm. So, for example, like if I'm driving on the highway,
that's what I think.
I'm putting faith in the idea that you're not gonna swing off into the other lane and destroy my family. So, like, so when it says without conscience, without faith, I still think that works even in a secular understanding, you know, because
for sure, because
most of the people we've run into that are atheist, agnostic, or whatever would probably consider themselves secular humanists. Mm-hmm. I think from a secular humanist worldview, you can easily say, of course, you're not gonna, you know, ram your car into the other person's car. We're trying to both promote our mutual flourishing, because one of the, you know, bedrock assumptions of secular humanism is that if all of us are flourishing, then it's better for all of us as a whole. So my point is, just because you see the word faith there, it doesn't necessarily have to go to religious faith.
No, I agree.
It can be, you know, your own conscience, as you're trying to be consistent with the ideal of secular. So, like, in the conscience part, I'd say, okay, that's the internal, be faithful to humanism or be faithful to Christ-likeness. And then the external would be, I have faith that you're going to do that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And
Oh,
so that
okay.
we can
Yeah,
function
yeah.
as a society. If both of those break down,
Internal and external.
and
Yeah.
usually the internal breaks down, and then externally people collectively
faith.
break down.
Yeah.
Once that happens, once people lose that, then society gets ugly, which is what you're seeing. Once people are losing faith. It doesn't matter if you're left, right, whatever. All the major institutions that we assumed that we could trust, people on, doesn't matter how you feel, whatever side, feel that we're regressing. And it's really fascinating. You listen to certain people, they're like, it's like the world is ending, and then on the other side, they're on the complete opposite end of the issue. They feel like the world is ending.
Yep.
And we don't have faith in each other. We don't have faith in our government. You had you got a bunch of people that believed that the last election was still fraudulent. And what people don't realize is prior to that, you had people that were believing in a crazy conspiracy theory for 4 years. It's completely unfounded. So it's just like, and aside from who's right or wrong on those things, there's this real, it was almost like symbolized during COVID with the mask thing. Because Crystal Ball brought up something that was really interesting, where she said that the government is basically training us to hold each other in suspicion now.
Oh, well, yeah.
Now you have a little cough. Now, and so the masks were kind of like this physical barrier, but it was also like representing kind of the barrier that's like between everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so that's what happens when we collectively lose faith in each other.
Yeah, and there was a noticeable rift. Like you could tell the mask wearers versus the non-mask wearers and what that meant.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And who were the morally right ones for what they were doing.
Right.
Because the one group believed that we shouldn't just let the government tell us what to do on everything. They're even telling us to put cloth over our face and we're going to listen to that degree. They're going to tell us when to go home, where not to shop. They're going to close stores. There was that angle, and then the other people that were mask wearers were just saying, hey, this is for public safety. Like, if there's a possibility we could save a life or end a life by the decision that we make, then we should absolutely do this.
Right.
And so, you're looking at
But that's the breakdown of the social contract right there. Because the social contract is, look, I'm not going to drive into your side of the street and fuck up your life. You know what I'm saying? And so,
but if you take the mask off, you're driving into
and that's the conflict, because it's like. And I felt that way with vaccines. All that was like, yo, we got a contract with each other to have to interact with each other in good faith. And again, it doesn't matter what side you're on. It's just that's the point. But they were saying, yeah, but where are you getting this information from? We don't trust those authorities, because if you look here, it says there's no progress, but still there's slaves. So. They're going to interpret that. They're interpreting that as, our authorities are trying to enslave us. And the other folks are looking, and they're not wrong for saying that, right? But the mask wearers were saying, we got a social contract with each other, so if there's a chance I could kill you, why wouldn't we do this? And so there's this thing, and like people look at each other like enemies, when in reality, I feel, especially now looking back retroactively, it was just different sides of the same coin. So there's a lot of that actually happening, where it's like not necessarily finding a middle ground, but finding where the breakdown is between our internal conscience mechanism versus the external faith in humanity type of thing. And obviously as a Christian, it's the same thing that happens, in my opinion, because we're supposed to have faith in God. But when that faith in God breaks down, then you see Christians start resorting to all types of crazy things and crazy methodologies, because again, there is that breakdown of faith. So it really sets up a pretty bleak it sets up a bleak environment here, like the way that he's talking. And I don't know, I just feel like this is how everybody feels right now, regardless of recent whatever. I mean, if we're talking about the Supreme Court, the day before Roe v. Wade, they did the expansion of the gun thing. Which to me, after Buffalo and Uvalde, those kids aren't even completely buried yet. To me, that's a slap in the face.
Yeah.
Like, there were so many things about last week that to me were just like, I'm not on any of these people's side. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like, there's just everybody like kind of has this real distrust now, and even to the point now, it's interesting, we all got shoved into our homes for like a year or so, and it increased tribalism, right? Because the only way you can have an outlet is to hang out online, but you're going to generally gravitate to people who think like you.
Exactly.
So then TYT, all, like, it just inflamed. So then when we went back out in society, people are even like, you know, it's just a crazy situation that we're in right now. And so this band is like not really presenting a very hopeful future, but I feel like it's like perfectly appropriate for how everybody feels like right now.
Yeah, you're probably,
You know, like the people in power are calling these plays, and we're not being consulted, whether it's economically, you know, whether it's, you know, one guy can take control of the entire global conversation, which is essentially what Twitter is. And I understand, like, capitalism, whatever, but the society we are existing in now is one guy can take control of the entire communication apparatus for the world. You know, it's just so economically, you know, so media-wise, social media-wise, there just doesn't seem to be a place for like common people to hold the day. It's kind of like we're even on the internet, we're kind of in a fiefdom right now. It's just a weird, weird time to be, and I definitely see a lot of people feeling like, yo, these people are just running the world, and there's nothing we can do about it. So I like the song. I give it a solid 9. Solid 9 for me.
It's a 3.5. I'll give it an extra half a point for the melodic ending, so it's a 4.
3 point. Wow.
But that's why I said, I'm like, it should flip. It would be the flip. So that means it's actually a really good score for this type of song.
Oh my god. Well, there you go, dear listener.
Shout out to the True Cult.
We have more songs for you on the way. More mediocre songs, I presume. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone. Oh, my man Vlad. Damn it, Vlad. I wish you were here for that previous conversation, bro. Oh well, cut her off a lot.